Two are there, so someone
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. I think it's working. Good morning and welcome to Free Grace Community Church on this Sunday morning from Nicaragua. My name is Mike, and today we're going to depart from our regular Bible study weekly and take a break for at least this week. And we're going to look at what does the Bible say about the Antichrist. We're going to look at the main passages that refer to the Antichrist to see what traits does the Antichrist have. And then after we do that, we're going to apply that to see how many of these traits does Donald Trump fulfill, right? Because we suspect he is the Antichrist. Of course, nothing is 100%. We're not accusing anyone here. Things could change tomorrow, and he could be proven not to be the Antichrist. And if that's the case, we may have another 20 years or so, because, in my opinion, there's no one else that matches the Antichrist that's alive today other than him. So, but we're going to take a look at what traits he does fulfill. And oftentimes in history, there are types of the Antichrist that do fulfill a lot of these traits, and they repeat throughout history. Like we've had emperors, and you've had Hitler, and you've had like different dictators and stuff like that that may have fulfilled a lot of these traits as well. So we're just going to take a look first in the Bible to see what it says. So let's get started with that. So the main passage in the Bible, in the New Testament for the Antichrist is Revelation 13, of course, where it has the beast in Revelation 13. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months, 3.5 years. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. So that's mainly about the Antichrist there. So the rest of the chapter is about the false prophet, which I don't really have a solid candidate for that, because he could be someone that's still to come. We don't really know too much about the false prophet, but we're going to concentrate on the Antichrist today. So he's empowered by Satan, and he's empowered by, he comes out of the sea, which is it's a sort of an allegory for for coming out of the people, right? So he rose up out of people, right? The sea of people, I guess it's sort of an allegory for that. But his power is given to him by Satan, the dragon, as we know who that is from Revelation 12. He has a deadly wound that was healed, and people are worshiping him and saying, nobody can defeat him, basically. So that's mostly Revelation 13. And then and there are more references in Revelation, like in chapter 17, which we have about end times Babylon. where we have the beast. There's this 10 king, the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. So the 10 horns, these 10 kings, are going to work with the Antichrist. And then at the end, they're going to turn against this whore of Babylon, which rides the beast. So this beast is being controlled by something called Mystery Babylon, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And there's various theories as to who that could be. But he's being controlled by this Mystery Babylon. And so the 10 horns at the end will turn against that, this whore of Babylon, and burn her with fire. And then the great city, Babylon, is destroyed. In Revelation 18, in 1 hour, it says. So that's, we're going to get to that in a future week, the end times Babylon. Okay, so the next main reference of the Antichrist in the New Testament is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, which says, Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things? And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. So that's the main Antichrist passage there. The man of sin is what the King James calls him. Other translations may say man of lawlessness too, which is an interesting translation, because as we see and then Matthew 24, that sort of relates to Matthew 24, the lawlessness. And it says in the King James, is one of the signs of the end times. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Iniquity is another synonym for lawlessness, right? And lawlessness is what we're seeing in today's society, not from the actual people, but from all the governments of the world. They're all lawless. All these governments right now ignore the law and they do whatever they want. They're essentially, we are under a world dictatorship already. They're just calling it freedom or whatever. They're just giving you the illusion of choice. But in fact, we are under a dictatorship, and we have been for quite some time. Because when crises come up, we shall see that a lot of governments are in lockstep with one another. They all do the same thing. Like they're all pushing age verification right now. They were all doing the same thing during COVID. So the masks are coming off, right? They really are working together in secret. This was never, Alex Jones was right all along. They were working together in conspiracy to bring about, and they're here to bring about the end times, basically. So Anyway, that's one of the signs of the end, the lawlessness, and the man of lawlessness or man of sin, the Antichrist. So Daniel 7. Now, the main passages in the Old Testament about the Antichrist are in Daniel chapter 7, 8, and 11. So we're just going to see what these three chapters say about the Antichrist. So in Daniel 7, verse 7, after this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue at the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. This is a reference to the Antichrist, the little horn. The Antichrist is called a little horn. And then if we go down to verse 11, I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. This relates to Revelation when Jesus returns. He is thrown alive into the lake of fire, the beast and the false prophet. So this is a prophecy of that happening. So because of this, we know that this little horn is the Antichrist. So then we come down to verse 20. It says, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. So this Antichrist will look more stout than his fellows. And he will make war with the saints and win. He will win. And that's the 5th seal of Revelation 6, where the martyrs in heaven are saying, how much longer is it going to be? And God says there's still some left that need to be killed of your brethren first before justice will be done. So the 5th seal is martyrdom, right? So now in verse 24, and the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall rise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. So these 10 kings are the same 10 kings we're seeing in Revelation. And it says that he comes after them. So these were 10 kings that exist at the time the Antichrist comes on the world scene. And he's going to take 3 of them out. So that's one sign that possibly we haven't seen yet come to pass, but we may see in the near future. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. That's 3.5 years. That's his 42 months that he's going to reign. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And they shall take away his dominion. So the saints initially will lose, but then eventually we win because Jesus comes back and we come back with him, and then he's defeated. So next we go to Daniel chapter 8, which it was talking about the he-goat, which is Alexander the Great in history. And then there was 4 kingdoms that came out of that. And then out of one of those kingdoms eventually comes this little horn. So out of one of them, the 4 kingdoms that came out of Alexander the Great when he died, out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south and toward the east and toward the pleasant land. So towards the south, south, and then he goes east and towards Jerusalem or Israel. It says, and it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of the sanctuary was cast down. And an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. So this Antichrist is going to, this abomination of desolation. This is what Jesus mentions in Matthew 24, when the abomination of desolation will sit in the temple. It's related to the Antichrist performing that, right? And that is in actually Revelation 13 as well, where we see the image of the beast. And so we have the false prophet saying, and he has power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. This is the abomination of desolation, where it's saying you have to worship this idol that gets put in the temple, right? So he's going to do, that's one of the things he's going to do. And then in the farther down, verse 23, and in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. So again, because we know this is the Antichrist, because he's standing up against Jesus, and he'll be defeated instantly, right? So we know that this king of fierce countenance is talking about the Antichrist. He's the only figure throughout history that's going to stand up against Jesus when he returns. So it can't be anyone else. It has to be the Antichrist. So these are more things that we can look for in an Antichrist to see if a given person is the Antichrist. And we're going to cover that in the main presentation, some of these verses. So now we go to Daniel chapter 11, which gives us like a list of traits of the Antichrist. So here we're talking in verse 20, then shall stand up in his estate a raiser of taxes in the glory of the kingdom, but within a few days he shall be destroyed, neither in anger nor in battle. And in his estate shall stand up a vile person, to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peaceably and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. Flatteries can be seen because you're flattering people to get what you want. You're telling people what they want to hear. Politicians, they obtain power through flattery, right? So it's a politician, a vile person, to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom. So whoever this is not well liked among the people, right? Not well liked. And with the arms of a flood shall they be overflown from before him, and shall be broken. Yea, also the prince of the covenant. We're talking about the prince of the covenant. That's Daniel 9, right? That's another thing that he's going to do. We don't want to miss Daniel 9:27. Because in there it says, and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. So this is that 7-year peace treaty. 1 week is 7 years in Daniel 9, because this is the 70 weeks of Daniel prophecy, which gave the timing of when Jesus would die, after where it says, how long would it take between building the temple and unto Messiah the Prince? There was 7 weeks, and then 62 weeks. And then after that 62 weeks, 62 weeks, I think, shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself, because Jesus did not die for himself. He died for us, right? And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the war desolations are determined. The people of the prince that shall come. The prince that shall come is the Antichrist. The people of that, so whoever he comes out of, destroy the temple. And this temple was destroyed in AD 70, right? The Roman Empire destroyed it. So whoever the Antichrist is coming out of a revived Roman Empire, some type of empire that goes back to the Roman Empire, or takes a lot of like things from the Roman Empire, right? So that's also one thing to look for. So he will set up the abomination of desolation in the middle of that week. So we have a 7-year peace treaty of some sort that gets broken in the middle, right? Some type of agreement that gets broken. So the Antichrist is a deal breaker too. So now if we go down to the next part of Daniel 11, it says, and arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries. But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits. And they that understand among the people shall instruct many. Yet they shall fall by the sword, and by flame, by captivity, and by spoil many days. Now when they shall fall, they shall be holpen with a little help, but many shall cleave to them with flatteries. And some of them of understanding shall fall, to try them, and to purge, and to make them white, even to the time of the end, because it is yet for a time appointed. This gives you the reason why would God let us go through the tribulation, right? It's to try and purge people, to make them white. It's a trial, right? It's a test, right? Again, even for believers, to make them better. It's like, because there's a lot of believers that might, need that kind of thing, right? So we all do, right? So it's a test, right? So now in verse 36, and the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done. Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any god, for he shall magnify himself above all. But in his estate shall he honor the God of forces, and a God whom his fathers knew not shall he honor with gold and silver and with precious stones and pleasant things. Thus shall he do in the most strongholds with a strange God, whom he shall acknowledge and increase with glory, and he shall cause them to rule over many, and shall divide the land for gain. And then we'll go to the end verse, and he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas and the glorious holy mountain, yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. So it's the look to the Antichrist to build some sort of headquarters near the mountain where Jerusalem is, between the seas and the glorious holy mountain, basically. He's going to build some sort of headquarters, possibly. Did the U.S. put an embassy in Jerusalem? It's something like that, maybe. Could be the U.S. embassy in Jerusalem if we're looking at Trump. So and honoring the God of forces is important. And the desire of women, that one, people say, well, then he has to be gay because he doesn't like the desire of women. But no, it means he doesn't care what they think of him, right? Or he's a womanizer. That can also fit, right? So it doesn't mean he has to be gay. So that's an oftentimes thing that people say that's not necessarily true. So there's ways of interpreting it that are different. So now this presentation was done originally in 2024, a couple of years ago, almost a year and a half ago, maybe, or almost 2 years ago. And this is looking at the evidence that Trump is the Antichrist. And I don't think I covered it, but the little horn, or the name Trump, it means a little horn. So that's number one. He fulfills the name of the little horn. So let me just go into the full presentation here. So traits of the Antichrist. I think I need to use full one. In John 5:43, it says, Jesus says, I am come in my Father's name, and ye receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him ye will receive. So he comes in his own name and is received by the Jews, by Israel. So that's number one. So as we know, Trump comes in his own name. He puts his name on everything he owns. Trump Tower, Trump Golf, courses, etc. All over the world. Everything he owns has his name on it. He comes in his own name. I think everyone will agree that he definitely comes in his own name. Now, as to being received by the Jews, there was a report here of a renowned Jewish rabbi who says Trump is anointed as God's non-Jewish Messiah to serve Israel. So Lou Rockwell reported this in 2024. So the rabbis say he's their non-Jewish Messiah. It says in recording, Parnas and Fruman compared Trump to the Messiah. So there was a recording of these rabbis, I think, who were comparing Trump to the Messiah and saying, according to Jewish gematria and numerology, there's some Giuliani, someone who is associated with Rudolph Giuliani. His associate explains the letters in Trump's name add up to 424, the same total as the Redeemer. So that's what Israel is saying. Jewish rabbis are saying, right? His name is the same as the Messiah. No, we don't subscribe to gematria. It's a cult, right? It's not to be. We're not to be getting into that. But so the rabbi sounds a beast alarm. U.S. facing choice between kingdom leading to collapse or Cyrus like Trump. So they're comparing him to King Cyrus, who was the one who told Israel they could rebuild the temple back in the day. Biden's replacement with someone whose only qualifications are for gender or skin color and the birthplace of her parents further underscores the complete composition of the fourth beast. So they're saying either it was like Kamala Harris would be leading to collapse, or if they pick Trump, then it'd be like Cyrus. So they're on board with they wanted Trump to get in. And now in November 2016, his original win, Trump upset victory, divinely sent to begin messianic process. This is what the rabbis were saying. So they were calling him the Messiah. They issued this coin in 2018, the Cyrus Trump coin, to fulfill 70 years. So it was a 70-year anniversary of Israel from 1948 to 2018. And it says, and he charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem. So it's a reference to rebuilding the temple. So, and then there's the menorah, and we have a lion on there, and the seal of the United States. The Persian Empire is the lion there, right? Cyrus was from the Persian Empire. Trump is from the American Empire. So, but they're likening them together as similar people, which is funny because Trump's attacking the Persian Empire right now. And then we have this. This was presented to Trump in, I think, 2023 or something like that. 2023.
To Hashem, for his work is good, his kindness endures forever. Presented to President Donald J. Trump for his extraordinary heroic effort.
Right, so he was at Mar-a-Lago. This was before he got in for the second time. This is the crown of Jerusalem that they presented to him, a crown of Jerusalem, which Jesus should be the only one wearing the crown of Jerusalem. So this is like, okay, they're receiving him. Right, I'm not sure if the audio was visible. Desktop audio is turned off, so turn it back on. But basically they gave him this crown of Jerusalem, I think 2023, at Mar-a-Lago. So then in 2024, the rabbis from the Israel Heritage Foundation gave him another presentation of this menorah. And the menorah has a plaque on it. And on the plaque, it says, among other things, it says, the Israel Heritage Foundation, with profound gratitude, presents this Covenant of Peace award to the Prince of Peace, President Donald J. Trump. So February 26th, 2024. So calling Trump the Prince of Peace, right? And that's from Isaiah 9:6. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. So they've given Trump this title that belongs only to God, or Jesus, actually. This is a prophecy of Jesus. And now, who we think is the Antichrist is co-opting that title for himself. So that's what we would expect with an Antichrist, because he's the replacement for the real Christ, right? So this is how many other people have gotten this, right? Not that many, I wouldn't say. Now, there's these dates, right? September 15th, 2020, to the actual day that they presented him with the Prince of Peace menorah is 1,260 days, which is the same time period mentioned in Revelation for the reign of the Antichrist. So it's not like saying that this was his reign. It's saying it's another 1,260 day hint, possibly, that he could be the Antichrist, because that number is related to his reign when he does come to power. So September 15th, 2020. Well, what day was that? Why do we pick that day? Because that's when the Abraham Accords were signed, September 15th, 2020, which could be the covenant with many, right? The Abraham Accords. So September 15th, 2020, it was signed, and then 3.5 years later, he gets the menorah, calling him the Prince of Peace. Interesting, 1,260 days. So number 2, he has the mouth of a lion. So Revelation 13:2 says, the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power, his seat, and great authority. So it has a mouth of a lion, the Antichrist. And there's Trump. That's typical of him. He's always like yelling and stuff, right? So like the mouth of a lion. This one, I don't think I can play this because it's going to cause feedback. But this is one of many speeches where he's like berating the journalists, saying you're stupid and all. He's very like rough with people, right? He's not nice to people, right? As we all know, we can find this clip a million places on YouTube. These clips, right? He was talking about Biden. He was saying you reporters are dumb. And then we have this, the Trump-Pence 2016 T-shirt. We have a lion. So they're calling Trump a lion. This is the MAGA lion merchandise that they were selling at the time. So likening Trump to a lion, right? So the third trait is arrogant and magnifies himself above others. Daniel 8:25, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. And 11:36, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god. So Trump says, I destroy careers of Republicans who say bad things about me. So he's always making these boastful statements. This is also a video. I'm not sure if it's going to work because
I really believe I'd run into it even if I didn't have a weapon. And I think most of the people in this room would have done that too. Nobody knows the system better than me. Nobody knows politicians better than I do. Nobody knows. Nobody's better. Nobody's stronger. There's nobody bigger or better at the military than I am. I love the First Amendment. Nobody loves it better than me. Nobody loves the Bible more than I do.
Okay. So we get the point. I don't have to do the whole thing. He's always saying nobody's better at him at basically anything, right? So he's boastful, right? And so again, traits of the Antichrist, boastful. Daniel 7:8, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man and a mouth speaking great things. Revelation 13:5, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemy. So you can see Daniel 7 and Revelation 13 tie into each other quite closely. And blasphemies. This one, again, this is one of those, nobody's better than anything at him. Right? He knows everything, basically. So I think the evidence of that is all over the internet. Daniel 8:12, like every day, right? So Daniel 8:12, and it cast down truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. So he throws truth to the ground. This was in 2020, the final tally of lies. Analysts say Trump told 30,000 mistruths, that's 21 a day, during his presidency. So some of this is from Democrats, right? So maybe it's not that many, but since his second term, he lies all the time. I think anyone can find out that he's lying about everything, basically. Every time he opens his mouth, it's a lie. And it's not just Democrats now, because I'm not a Democrat, so I don't subscribe to the leftist ideology or the right either. So it's all the same, right? Both sides are really the same. So there's another boastful video here. Let's see what that one is.
One thing I can promise you this: I will always tell you the truth. The Washington Post and other fact checkers have found that Donald Trump tells more lies and falsehoods than any president in either party in history. The count is over 20,000.
So they're basically saying the same thing. And there's a lot of lies, and it's even getting worse. So the man of sin or man of lawlessness is expected to have a lot of lies, right? So next, let's see, this is another. Let's see what this is. This is from Antichrist 45 channel. He's got a lot of good videos about Trump. So if you want more evidence about Trump being the Antichrist, go to the Antichrist 45 channel. He does not preach the right gospel, but he has a lot of evidence against Trump here being the Antichrist. So I'm not going to play the video just for the sake of time. So number 6, he denies the Father and the Son. 1 John 2:22, who is a liar but he that denieth that Jesus is the Christ? He is Antichrist, that denieth the Father and the Son. Whosoever denieth the Son, the same hath not the Father. He that acknowledgeth the Son hath the Father also. So he does deny the Father and the Son because, let's see, what this, another video. Was asked if he ever asked God for forgiveness.
I'm not sure. I just don't want to try and do a better job from here. I don't think so. I think if I do something wrong, I think I just try and make it right.
So yeah, that was the answer. And people asked him about it even again. Anderson Cooper actually had a whole interview about this with him. And he doubles down, he triples down. No, he does not. He never asks God for forgiveness. He believes in living a good life in order to get to heaven, to being a good person, right? He thinks you can be a good person and get to heaven. This is denying the Son because he denies that he needs forgiveness, which is number one for salvation. So he is not saved by any way, shape, or form if he denies that he needs a Savior, right? And then I think this is the Anderson Cooper.
I asked you
No, this is a different one.
It was at Normandy at the 75th anniversary of Normandy. I'm going to ask you again. What do you pray for? I know you don't like to really talk about this, but most people across the country see you as an important figure, a critical figure at a desperate time for the country. They think that. And they want to know that you believe there's something more than just this
Well,
war.
I think one of the reasons that our country has lost sort of everything, it's lost so much, is we don't have religion to the same extent. I mean, you look at those charts, they're so sad. I mean, it's just going bad. And the Democrats were violent and ruthless to religion during COVID. What they did during COVID, people weren't even allowed to meet outside, and they were 10 feet apart in some big field. They'd arrest everybody. They were fascists. They were horrible. That was a very bad time for organized religion. But religion, it gives you some hope. Gee, if I'm good, I'm going to heaven.
Do you believe it?
So there you go. If he's good, he's going to heaven. That's not the gospel.
No.
And notice he called the Democrats fascist. But he's fascist. Because what are they doing? They're doing everything Hitler did. Invading countries without provocation, right? Rounding up undesirables, putting them in concentration camps. They're building concentration camps in the U.S. right now. They're doing the same thing as Hitler. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so he says to be a good person to go to heaven. But the Bible says, John 14:6, Jesus says unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. Acts 4:12, neither is there salvation in any other, for there is none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. He may say the name of Jesus in a scripted speech sometimes, but he doesn't believe that Jesus as his Savior, right? So he's not saved. So number 7, a vile person. So Daniel 11:21, and in his estate shall stand up a vile person, to whom they shall not give honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peaceably and obtain the kingdom by flatteries or politics. A vile person. Let's see what this one.
Under no circumstances, you are promising America tonight, you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody. Except the day one. Except he's going crazy. Except the day one, meaning I want to close the border and I want to drill. That's not retribution. I'm going to be. I love this guy. He says, "You're not going to be a dictator, are you?" I said, "No. Other than day one, we're closing the border and we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator."
So he is a dictator because he's been dictating by executive order ever since he got into office. So yeah, if you're a dictator on day one, that's the one day you need to consolidate all your power to stay a dictator for life, right? So he lied about that, obviously. So that's another lie. He is a dictator. So here's where they actually call him vile. Trump gives most deranged and vile speech. Yeah, and this was 2 years ago.
And if you put me back in the White House, their reign is over. Their reign will be over. And they know it. And America will be a free nation once again. We're not a free nation right now. We don't have free press. We don't have free anything. In 2016, I declared, I am your voice. Today I add, I am your warrior. I am your justice. And for those who have been wronged and betrayed, I am your retribution. I am your retribution. I can let this happen. The disgraced former president.
Okay, so we're not going to play that whole thing, but Trump is calling himself your retribution, etc. He's putting himself out as the savior of the people, right? And they're calling him vile in the media. But there's many more vile things that he's done that you can look up online about the Epstein files, etc. He's all over the Epstein files. I don't have clips on that, but you can find them all over YouTube of what he's done, and he's a vile person. Not sure what this one is. Oh no, that's the same one. That's the same one. Anthony Davis. Okay. Exclusive town hall.
He says, "You're not going to be a dictator, are you?"
Oh, that's the same one. No. Okay, so we got that one.
He says,
okay. So Daniel 11:38. He honors the God of forces. This is a big one with Trump. But in his estate shall he honor the God of forces, and a God whom his fathers knew not shall he honor with gold and silver and with precious stones and pleasant things. This is Trump's penthouse suite in Manhattan. I don't know if he still lives there or still owns it, but at the time when he was living there, this is what it looked like. It was gold all over the place, gold, silver, and precious things. We see this painting called Apollo and his chariot is being led in his chariot by Aurora. So he has a painting of Apollo. There's Greek vases in there, which is interesting because the Antichrist is supposed to come out of the Greek Empire as well as the Roman Empire. So we have Roman Empire like columns there too. So you know everything's gold. And then we look at, and he's got statues of Greek Eros and Psyche, Greek gods. And we have on the ceiling a painting of Apollo in his chariot being driven across the sky. So again, Apollo, the sun god, who is the god of forces. That's Apollo. So he honors the god of forces in his estate, and that's his estate. It literally has Apollo stuff to Apollo in it, right? So does anyone else today have that fulfill that? I don't know. Revelation 13:18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. The other reference to 666 in the Bible is from 1 Kings 10:14. Now the weight of gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 666 talents of gold. So Solomon would receive 666 talents of gold every year. So there's a connection between the Antichrist and Solomon, King Solomon, in that they both love gold. So Donald Trump loves gold. He has gold everywhere. So we have gold all over his apartment here that we saw before, and we got another picture of it here. He's got gold everywhere. And then they made a gold statue to Trump. They made a gold statue of Trump in one of these America First rallies that they did before he got elected again. So, and then there was this Trump, the Trump Gaza AI video that he put out about Gaza being turned into like a resort. It had a gold statue of Trump in the video as well, a statue of Trump. So there's gold there too. Like he knows it, that he likes gold. So, and then this is an update to this presentation, Trump's goldening of the Oval Office since he got in power. So let me go to The Guardian. If I can click on this. Before and after Trump's extreme goldening of the Oval Office. So we see a picture here of the Oval Office with when Zelensky was visiting last year in August, I guess it was. So you can see the gold all over the place, gold painting, frames, there's gold all the way up in there. The furniture is gold, the mantle, everything, gold. And then if we look down here, he's got a gold, these are coasters, golden coasters on his desk. It says Trump 47th. And gold trimming over the doorways, the golden cherub here, and that's probably over that's right there, this golden cherub. So that's an idol right there. New paintings in the Oval Office that have gold frames. So there's another picture of it. All these gold vases on the mantelpiece. And then here's what it looked like under Biden. There was no gold on the mantelpiece. There was a plant, and there was none of these gold trimming. All this gold trimming was added, and even on the tables were replaced. The lamp is gold now. Everything's been replaced, and the furniture is more gold in color now, and the rug it's all been changed, right? So, and then when we had, so there's another comparison there. He had a plant, Biden did. And then this is what it looked like under Barack Obama in 2010. the Oval Office, it's very similar to what it looked like under Biden. So Biden and Obama didn't change pretty much anything. They had more of a respect for the office, I think, than Trump. Trump comes in and he replaces everything. So basically everything's now gold. And even the curtains in the Oval Office are gold too, right? We don't see that here, but if you look it up, there's gold curtains in the Oval Office as well. So that's the update, the goldening of the Oval Office, again, showing how much he loves gold. Number 10, a stout look. So Daniel 7 says, the Antichrist has a look more stout than his fellows, right? So he's not in a good shape, right? So he's overweight, right? As we can see in these pictures, he's overweight, and people don't even understand how he's still alive today. Like RFK Jr. just said in an interview, I don't know how Trump's still alive, the way he lives, the way he eats. He's always eating junk food, apparently. So his look is more stout than his fellows. So Daniel 9:27, and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. So he has a covenant with many. And we know about the Abraham Accords, which were also, they're adding more people onto it as well. So this could be the covenant with many. So that's a possibility. Do you have any other president in the world right now that can fulfill this? I don't think so. And then the senators had a press conference following a visit to the Abraham Accords countries. This was in 2023. Let's see what that has to say.
Well, I just want to thank the senators who joined on this trip, but particularly Senator Rosen and Senator Langford for their leadership in leading this delegation. This was a very important trip for all of us to see and to learn from the countries that have already signed on to the Abraham Accords. I can tell you, I've been to the Middle East many, many times. I think this trip was the most optimistic of my many travels. And it's the first time I've really seen an opportunity for long-term peace in the region. The fact that each of these nations, Morocco, Bahrain, UAE, and Israel, that Iran is their number one concern from a safety and security and a stability perspective, that they want to use this moment in time to deepen their relationship and widen their relationship. They want far more investment on economic issues, far more investment on regional missile defense and national security. And this is a moment in time I certainly have never seen before. I see such opportunity for a large framework for Middle East peace through the Abraham Accords. I think these agreements can be strengthened. I think they can be widened. I think there are many other participants that may well join the Abraham Accords in the next year. And I'm grateful that each of the leaders we met with had an open mind about what relationship they could build with both the United States and with Israel. It was very hopeful, and I've not felt as hopeful about the Middle East in the last decade. So this is an opportunity that should not go unnoticed. It should not.
Okay, so she's never seen it before, and it's possible it could be strengthened, in which the Antichrist confirms the covenant with many. So it already exists, and he makes it stronger, is what confirm means in Daniel. So then we have. So now, and then we have this one where, again, they're reporting about the Abraham Accords as a historic thing, right? So I'm not going to play it, but so another one is he's disguised as an angel of light. So no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Therefore it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. So disguising himself as an angel of light. Some New Age influencers believe Trump is a light worker, right? The New Age philosophy Trump connection has concerning parallels to the role mysticism played in Nazi Germany. So you can look up this article if you want to read the whole thing. So there are New Age influencers that think he's a light worker, he's here to destroy everything and then rebuild it from the ashes, which is what this channeler says in this video. It's like, I have to find it though, because I can't play the whole video, but from the 6 minutes, we can see that she believes it.
I just see this as consciousness playing out. So it was in March when I received the information that Donald Trump, our United States president, is a massive and powerful light worker.
So she received this information from demons, right? Because she channels this stuff. So the demons are calling him a light worker. So if we go to 12 minutes in, just these clips, we'll see what she says here.
That he will be known as one of the most prolific way showers of our time.
She calls him a way shower. Now, the New Age, these way showers are the ascended masters of the New Age, right? Of which they call Jesus as a way shower. He shows people the way, right? So they're calling Trump a way shower, which is equivalent. They're putting him on the same parallel as Jesus, which is a false Jesus that they believe in, right? The false Jesus that they believe in. And the other thing, which isn't in here, but the traits of the Antichrist about transforming into an angel of light, even more so, beyond the New Age, is he's seen in this evangelical Christianity. They're all surrounding him. All these evangelicals, which are Seven Mountain Mandate so-called Christians, but they're false Christians. So they look like Christians, but they're false. They don't believe the right gospel, and they want to take over the world. It's to basically trigger the return of Jesus, who they think they're going to be reigning and ruling with him. But they're in for a surprise because they're going to be destroyed as well because they're helping the Antichrist. So let's see, next one. Falling away is connected to him. So 13, because with 2 Thessalonians 2, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So the falling away is connected to him. And people were putting out billboards like this, make the gospel great again, and putting the word became flesh in front of the image of Trump. So basically comparing him to Jesus, because the word became flesh is about Jesus, not about any man, right? So there's some people out there who think he is the Messiah. So here's a book by Helgard Mueller, The Son of Man, the Christ. They're calling Trump the Christ. These guys. These are totally deranged people, I think. And then we've got POTUS Shield, Trump's Dominionist Prayer Warriors and the Prophetic Order of the United States. So talking about the Dominionists or Seven Mountain Mandate people that are surrounding him. And Paula White, he's appointed as the White House pastor, she is one of these Seven Mountain Mandate people. They're totally unsaved. They're not saved whatsoever. And the Seven Mountain Mandate. So I'm not going to play the video, but he was there. And then Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's organization, is full of Seven Mountain Mandate people. So Seven Mountain Mandate, as of March 2026, this was a summary from AI. I asked it about the Seven Mountain Mandate. As of March 2026, reports indicate some U.S. military commanders are invoking Christian nationalist rhetoric, specifically linking Donald Trump to the Seven Mountain Mandate to justify military action against Iran, framing it as a divine effort to trigger Armageddon. The Seven Mountain Mandate is a dominionist theology aiming to control 7 key cultural spheres, including government. So Seven Mountain Mandates and Trump. Proponents such as Lance Wallnau have promoted the idea that Trump is anointed by God to reclaim the mountain of government. Iran rhetoric. According to The Guardian, complaints allege that a commander stated Trump was anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to bring on the end times. So U.S. troops were told war on Iran was all part of God's divine plan, Watchdog alleges. Religious freedom group says 200 troops sent complaints to superiors using extremist Christian rhetoric to justify the war. Their superiors were saying that, right? So that's why they're going to war, because it's a religious war that they're doing against Iran. So then we have the next trait. He calls himself God. So in 2 Thessalonians 2:4, that he is God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. So he called himself the chosen one right here in this clip, which you can look it up. Trump calls himself the chosen one. And then we had another video here. I'm not sure what this one says.
Yesterday, Donald Trump suggested that perhaps he survived the assassination attempt because God wanted him to save the world.
So that's what this one's about. Also on Antichrist 45's channel, that's where this video comes from, where Trump has said that he's chosen by God to save the world, so that's why he survived the attempt, right? So, and then we have this. April is the biggest month of traffic on Truth Social. By far, it has become one of the most important voices in the universe because it is my voice. So he calls himself the most important voice in the universe, which is something that would be God, right? Not him. It's tantamount to calling yourself God if you say you're the most important voice in the universe. So here's the deadly head wound. So he has a deadly wound that is healed. Revelation 13, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. So he did have a head wound, and there's the bullet heading toward his head, and you can see here that there's a lot of blood here, but there's absolutely nothing. There's no chunk taken out of his ear here. There's no damage to the ear in this photo at all. So, and then this one is from Gabe Sanchez. He was showing in this video, let's see, that there was no damage to his ear a few days later. It was like he was wearing a bandage and then he wasn't. Only in the course of like 10 days or something. If that was really like damaged by a bullet, there would be more damage to the ear. There's like nothing. So maybe his deadly wound was healed in that instant after he got shot, right? That's definitely a possibility. Can't say for sure, but because we didn't see it happen, right? But he got up and there was nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with his ear. So just the blood. So this is the Enough is Enough card from the Illuminati card game. It says, at any time, at any place, our snipers can drop you. Have a nice day. So this person looks a lot like Trump on the card. If you look and see side by side, it's basically, it looks like Trump. And it's talking about this bullet. See this thing here? This line that's going towards him, a sniper's bullet. Just like we saw in this picture of the bullet going towards him there in real life. So predictive programming. And then enough is enough is one of his campaign slogans. Enough is enough, Trump 2016. So another thing, predictive programming around Trump. And this card game came out back in the 90s. Like, he wasn't even thinking of running for president back then. He hadn't even done anything on TV back then with The Apprentice. That was before all that. So number 16, understands dark sentences. So Daniel 8:23, and in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. What's a dark sentence? If you go to Blue Letter Bible and look up this dark sentences in Strong's Concordance, it says it's a riddle. Number one, it's a riddle, difficult question, parables, enigmatic sayings or questions, perplexing sayings or questions, riddles, right? So we have, and when he stood up, after he was shot, he lifted up his hand and said, fight, fight, fight. Okay? If you've ever heard of QAnon, they are also related to Trump all the way until 2022 when they stopped posting. But QAnon was always posting stuff related to Trump. They were saying like he's going to, basically they're bringing in Trump, like they're supporting Trump, right? So it says, Anons picked up on the carpet bombs for you and you alone. Fight, fight, fight. Q. This was posted in 2018, September 17th, 2018. You'll see the number 17 related to Trump a lot too. 17 is the 17th letter of the alphabet is Q. So if you ever see anything around 17, that's also a reference to Q when it's related to Trump. So this was at the Emmys when he had this hand up, and then they're saying fight, fight, fight. And that is the reason he did that when he was shot. He said fight, fight, fight. All this stuff is orchestrated, right? So, and then this is basically the video where he stands up after he is shot, and then even as he's just standing up, he's doing this fight, 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 right? So like right away, he's doing it as if it's something he needed to do, right? Let's see, where is it? Right here. He's doing it right there. He's doing fight, fight, fight. And he did it there too for the cameras there. And so then here we have September 17th, 2018 to July 13th, 2024. Why are we looking at this? This is when he was shot, July 13th, 2024. 2,127 days between them. If we look at this Q post, September 10th, 2018, says, we will do our job to protect the vote. Will you do yours? Fight, fight, fight. So another fight, fight, fight reference. And then, so 2020, so 2127, right? So 2127, that's Q post number 2127, right? So another fight, fight, fight reference. So then we have Q posting in 2017, December 9th, talking about, we love our U.S. military on behalf of an entire nation. Thank you for your sacrifice. This is a quote. And it says, how many clues must we provide? So Donald Trump, 3 hours later, posted this to Twitter. We love our U.S. military on behalf of an entire nation. Thank you for your sacrifice and service. To the letter, the exact same quote that Q put out 3 hours before on the same day. So Q knew what he was going to post before he did it. Q is basically sort of a false prophet in giving these prophecies that come true. It's all orchestrated, right? And Trump is in on it, and all his administration. Because even today, they're posting stuff like that, similar to Q slogans. So if you're familiar with the Q slogans, like "Patriots are in control," well, they just posted that to Twitter from the White House, saying "Patriots are in control." So they're still into this Q thing. Q is almost like a false prophet to me, because it's giving these dark sentences or riddles that are all related to Trump, right? So, and this video here is about Michael Flynn, who was praying this prayer at one of these rallies, which lined up exactly. It was the prayer of a New Ager, Elizabeth Clare Prophet, right? So if you look this up, I'm not going to play it here. If you look it up, this prayer, he's saying a New Age prayer and getting the whole audience to chant, to repeat after him, right? This whole prayer. And it's word for word a New Age prayer. So these people are not Christians, they're New Agers in his administration. And Michael Flynn was very connected to Trump during his first administration and to the Q posts. He's mentioned in them a lot. So, and this is the final Q post of November 27th, 2022. They stopped posting after this. And in there, it's talking about what's coded in your DNA. Mankind is repressed. We will be repressed no more. Information is knowledge. Knowledge is power. It says, how do you protect your DNA? There's a war for your DNA. Protect your DNA. Ascension. So this is a New Age message that Q put out about ascension, which is what the New Age believes is coming, that we're going to evolve and become like superhumans, etc. Something about the DNA, right? So the final Q post was about ascension, revealing that Q was a New Age thing all along. It had nothing to do with patriotism. It's all about giving a New Age message. So again, which ye shall be as gods. The first thing Satan says in the Bible, ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Your eyes shall be opened, right? So talking about knowledge, right? Q is saying, and it's about the Gnosticism as well. Gnosticism, the hidden knowledge, right? The Q is hidden knowledge, because people look into it and they come up with things like this, the Q clock that someone designed, that they noticed that all the Q posts, over 2,000 of them, they line up in perfect lines around these clocks. There's different, they correlate with one another. It's so complicated that only Satan could have come up with this. No one could have designed this. So yeah, this is the Q clock, which I don't think anyone could really understand it, but if you go deep into the Q post, you'll figure out what this is, because these are all like, correlating posts together. And then we have, this is the one that they posted this in September. This one here on the left, we have March 8th, 2026. The White House posts, Patriots are in control. In September 21st, 2018, in one of these Q posts, Patriots are in control. So this is a Q slogan. It's often in a lot of the Q posts that Patriot. So they're sending a message to the people that the Q stuff is still active, right? They're still following it. So he understands dark sentences. I'm not sure what this is.
And it does seem that the former president has finally taken to the stage here in West Palm Beach. Let's go ahead and take this event live.
Yeah, I'm not sure. 54. I have to go to 54 minutes in before I see what he's supposed to be saying. This is where he was at this Turning Point USA summit, right? He spoke at this Turning Point USA. This is way back before he got elected in 2024. There we go.
And vote early, vote absentee, vote on election day. I don't care how, but you have to get out and vote. And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm not Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out.
So there's where he says you'll never have to vote again. Yeah. And he's talking to Christians as if he's not one of them, right? And he said, I'm not Christian. But a lot of people say, no, he said, I'm a Christian. No, he said, I'm not Christian. Because he's talking to Christians. He's saying, I love you, beautiful Christians. Well, aren't you one of them? No, he's not. He doesn't believe in Jesus. So he knows he's not one. So anyway, that's where he says you'll never have to vote again. And, look, coming up in the fall, we'll see if the elections even happen because of this war. He may actually suspend the election because he knows from what happened in the Ukraine, or in Ukraine, not the Ukraine, but in Ukraine, that they had to suspend elections because you can't have elections during wartime because people can get attacked at the polls and stuff, right? So he like sort of likes that idea, and he may suspend elections because he started this war, and it's getting worse. So we'll see if it just backfires on him, and then he just if he got removed from power, then maybe he's not the Antichrist, but we'll see what happens, right? Because we don't know what's going to happen. But the traits of the Antichrist, number 17, he goes out conquering. So Revelation 6:2, a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. Notice it says a crown was given unto him. Remember, the crown of Jerusalem was given to him. So there is a fulfillment as well. But he goes out conquering and to conquer. So he's talking about conquering Greenland or taking it, right? So he's been doing that. And this is actually a recent thing. It's not like from months ago. This is recent. Greenland and Denmark says Trump set on conquering territory after meeting. So he's still set on conquering Greenland, and that's what Denmark is saying. And then this Wikipedia entry, American expansionism under Donald Trump. So he is conquering, going out conquering, right? He wants to annex Greenland. He wants Canada to be the 51st state. He wants Mexico. He wants the Panama Canal. He wants the Gaza Strip. Now he's going after Iran. He's saying he wants Cuba. He already attacked Venezuela. So he's going out conquering and to conquer. And he wants this map to become true, the Technate of America map, which shows all of those areas that Trump is interested in as red, which is going to be part of this new world order, the Technate of America. So this is all Venezuela stuff, and Ecuador and stuff like that, the northern part of South America. And then we've got all Central America all the way up to Greenland and Cuba and all the Caribbean islands. But so the Technate of America map came out in the 1940s, developed by Technocracy Incorporated, a movement that advocated for the replacement of democracy and capitalism with a scientific, expert-driven system. Joshua Haldeman, a Canadian chiropractor, politician, and maternal grandfather to Elon Musk, was a prominent leader within this movement in Canada before breaking away from it because they were going to arrest him, so he left. He went to South Africa. So the concept, the map depicts a Technate of America. Now, this map is not made up by someone online. It's in the Cornell University archives. It's a true map that came out in the 1940s. Not something someone just made up recently. It shows a continental superstate merging the U.S., Canada, Mexico, Greenland, and parts of the Caribbean into one unit, including Central and the north part of South America as well. The goal was not to simply conquer territory, but to manage all resources, energy, and production efficiently, treating North America as a single industrial system governed by scientists and engineers. No more freedom, right? They're going to be in control. And you see what happens during COVID when you let the scientists be in control. It's fascism, medical fascism, scientific fascism, I guess. Notice it says all the resources. So he's going after resources. All these places he wants to annex have resources that are useful for AI, for technology, right? It's all about getting these resources for America. And then the organization was highly anti-capitalist, with the leader, Howard Scott, stating the movement was too far to the left for communism. Too far to the left for communism. So it's even more extreme than communism. The concept emerged during the Great Depression as a radical technocratic response to economic collapse. Joshua Haldeman's involvement. He was a leader of Technocracy Incorporated, operating out of Saskatchewan, and was a firm believer in the technocratic ideology. In 1940, he was arrested and questioned for his involvement with the group after it was banned in Canada as a subversive organization during World War II. Then he later left the movement, citing that it had become a scientific Frankenstein as becoming too aligned with Soviet Russia. So then he left and went to South Africa, where he advocated for apartheid, in favor of apartheid. So he's racist, and held anti-democratic, conspiracy-driven views. The map and his involvement have gained renewed attention due to parallels drawn by critics between technocracy's planned superstate and contemporary geopolitical trends, including Elon Musk's influence in global politics and technology. So some commentators suggest a parallel between his early 20th century utopia and Musk's current efforts to colonize Mars, treating the new colony as a self-sustaining technate run under similar principles. That's what they want Mars to be, if they ever get there. But they want the Earth to be that way too. Elon Musk is a technocrat, and his grandfather is the one that came up with that map. Trump launches the regime change effort in Iran that he pledged to avoid. So that's more conquering. He launched that war in Iran. There was no provocation. It was just like Hitler marching into Poland. There was no provocation. It was something that hasn't been done since the Nazis in World War II. It hasn't been done since then, this type of aggression. So now again, recently, March 10th, Trump again hints at desire to annex Canada, calling Carney the future governor. So he hasn't forgotten about it. He's still talking about Canada being the 51st state. So he wants to annex Canada. And then just this past weekend, he was in Miami with Latin American leaders to say, let's form a coalition to eradicate the cartels. And at this meeting, we see the president of El Salvador was there, the president of Argentina was there, a bunch of others who I don't really recognize. I don't know, Kegsbreath was there, Pete Hegsbreath, Pete Hegsbreath. Everyone calls him Kegsbreath, but because he's drunk all the time. But anyway, who was not there is the people that aren't agreeing with Trump, like the other people from. I know the president of Nicaragua wasn't there because he doesn't support Trump, but like El Salvador and Argentina do. So I don't know who the rest of the people are though. There are probably some others in South America or Central America that I don't know about. So and then during that speech, he called Mexico the epicenter of evil as he announces a military alliance against drug cartels. They want to go and invade Mexico, right? And then that recent thing that happened in Mexico had CIA fingerprints all over it, right? Where the cartels suddenly were starting to attack everyone, because the CIA was advising the Mexican military as to where that drug lord was that they wanted to kill. So the CIA was involved with that. The U.S. stirs up trouble in all these places. Now, and then number 18, receives global power, right? So Revelation 17, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. So they receive power with Trump, global power. And now we have Trump with the Board of Peace, basically taking global power for himself. He's putting the Board of Peace above the UN. Now, we don't know what's going to happen to the Board of Peace now that he's no longer, he's now, attacking countries. We'll see what happens to the Board of Peace, but this could be the coalition of those 10 kings appearing, right? So we'll see what happens. Trump's Board of Peace isn't about Gaza, it's about replacing the UN. So basically, in this article, they're saying Trump is basically putting himself as the emperor of this global power structure, Board of Peace, that is going to be above the UN or get rid of the UN, and they'll be taking charge. And it's all these dictators that are part of the Board of Peace as well. So there's not going to be freedom. So it's like, I see it as probably the start of this global government that the Antichrist is going to be in charge of. So Emperor Trump's so-called Board of Peace erases Palestinians from Gaza's governance. So he calls the shots in the Board of Peace. He has to approve everything. He's in there for life. It's basically an emperorship, right? Nobody can take him out. He can't be voted out. So he's got global power because they're giving him the power, right? These leaders, they're agreeing with him. They're giving him their power for 1 hour with the beast. That's what it says in Revelation. And then there's ties to the mark of the beast. So in Revelation 13, this is the false prophet, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. The mark in the right hand or forehead, right? And there's a video on my channel that I did just a week or so ago. Trump signed the directive to accelerate 6G deployment to operate implantable technologies. So this 6G is required in order for the mark of the beast to come to pass. They need the faster speeds in order to be able to track these marks that people are going to have to take, and which are supposed to replace cell phones within the next few years, by 2030, they say. Isn't that interesting how everything seems to converge on 2030 with all of their plans, right? So we'll see, but they're going ahead with 6G. We're already 3 months after this directive was signed. So in December of this year, they're supposed to report back to him about what's happening with 6G. So they're going to be and during COVID, they rolled out 5G very quickly because there was a lockdown, and people were saying, look, they're rolling out 5G while we're locked down. And people are saying, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. They're not doing that. They were doing it. It turns out, yes, they were doing it. And they rolled out 5G. Now they're going to do the same thing with 6G, but they may not even have to do it undercover, right? They'll just do it out in the open, because everything they're doing now, it's out in the open. They're not even pretending that they're not a dictator now. So this is so that's the last one of this presentation. There's way more things that I didn't have time to cover that I could go over. I don't know, but I can't always remember them all. But sometimes something will come to me that I didn't mention. But there's other traits of the Antichrist that he fulfills that I wasn't able to cover in this. And I may not even remember it myself unless I see a news article about it. So we'll see if I'll maybe update, short update next week if I remember any more traits of the Antichrist that I didn't have time to put in this. But as you can see, I don't think there's anyone else that can fulfill the Antichrist's prophecies other than Trump. Now, there's certain things that he hasn't done yet that are in the Bible, like, building the third temple, rebuilding the temple, sitting in the temple, those future events that haven't happened yet. So we don't know about those future events, but we do know about everything he's done up until now lines up with everything the Antichrist is supposed to embody from prophecy. So, and anyone else, if you have another candidate for the Antichrist, they have to fulfill every prophecy in the Bible. They can't just come close. They have to fulfill everything. So if even one thing doesn't come to pass, then that person is not the Antichrist. So that's why, like, people like Obama, people thought he was the Antichrist, but he didn't fulfill all these things. He didn't have, statues in his apartment with Apollo and stuff like that. So he didn't fulfill everything. But Trump has so far. So that's all I have for this week. I think next week we're going to go back to the next, I think Revelation 14 will be next. And so until then, leave your comments down below, like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. God bless. I'll end the stream.